Fam, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the CEO Pulse podcast, where you get the real, the raw, and the mind of entrepreneurship. Another beautiful, awesome, great episode of the Mindset Monday podcast with my co-host. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Ow. Justin Thorstad.
Yeah, I'm not going to get a crowd roar from that one, but we'll take
I'm
it.
sure like my kid would like it.
No.
Whatever, bro. I visualize a standing ovation, and that's what I'm gonna get.
Okay,
that's
all right.
That's how it goes.
Well,
that's how
as you should
just,
then.
That's how it goes.
Yep.
Fam, let's talk about the power of visualization, right? How to visualize. It's kind of like the context of this conversation. We're going to be pulling on a couple of different threads as we go through this, because I mean there's so much to peel back when it comes to the process of visualization, right? It's we're saying right before we hit record that it's one of those almost like the term visualize it and you'll manifest. It's kind of thrown around in every single growth personal growth seminar, and at some point I feel like because it's so it becomes mainstream and it's so commonly heard all over the place, it kind of loses its potence. But
Definitely.
it's one of the I mean, when you own it, when you really sit with it and get and adopt it as a practice, it's one of the best and most important tools that we do have at our disposal for personal power, right? For empowerment and growth and standing in a state of responsibility.
Yeah. Well, I'll say most people they know what they want for the most part. And yet they want to know like the shortcut. What's the shortest way for me to get it? And it's like, no, but most people think they know what they want.
Yeah.
And so if you want a shortcut to manifestation, to really create something, visualization is the key.
Yeah. 1,000%, right? So one of the biggest things I feel like when it comes to visualizing, it's that the concept can be misunderstood. Mm-hmm. Right?
Well, it's not taught in such a way that's easy to digest and follow a pragmatic approach.
Right.
And so it's misunderstood, and therefore it just becomes some esoteric woo-woo thing that people don't understand, so they write it off as unimportant.
That or results don't manifest in the first 30 seconds, so it becomes wishful thinking.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this shit doesn't work.
No instant gratification.
Yeah, exactly. And
maybe you're going about it wrong.
I remember watching the movie, right? The Secret, when it first came out. And they had this scene in there that was talking about the delayed gratification. It was talking about like, there's a purpose for that. We feel like we know what we want right now, but in reality, like, sometimes it takes, going through it or through the idea two times, 3 times, 4 or 5, to really sit well and kind of see if there's, there's some substance to what we feel like we want in the moment, right? So
Totally.
Like the guy's sitting there and he's thinking about like a safari trip or whatever, and then he visualizes an elephant, and then boom, like if it was immediate, the elephant would be sitting with him like in his living room.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's just
the elephant in the room.
Yeah, exactly. So it just puts some context into it, right? Delayed gratification is one of those things that allows us to create clarity over the vision that we want to create ultimately.
Well, I think a lot of people don't see the results that they visualize because they're missing some elements and some components to the practice.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, also like action.
Oh, that too. You mean I can't just sit on my couch at home and make billions of dollars by leaving?
Become a millionaire if I sit there and I just go over the idea of becoming a millionaire. Yeah. So again, it's tools in the tool belt, right? We still have to use those tools. At least I'm mortal, so I can't it's there's action behind the vision, right? There's stuff that has to be in alignment. Why? Because it's going to get our beliefs in alignment. It's going to help us become that bigger better version of ourselves, and it's also going to help us embrace the progress that we make along the way. I feel like the when we're growing and going through this process of figuring out what is it exactly that we want, we can't forget to look at the wins, We can forget to see like the evidence that we're stacking on a daily basis, right? And because we forget, and I'll speak for myself on this, it happens to me all the time. I feel like I'm not on target per se, right?
Because you don't see the thing, and the end result.
Yeah, and then what you have as a collateral, damage is you start to forget the initial vision.
Sure.
Well, it's so distracted. Yeah. This is me, right? I get so distracted with the taskiness of things sometimes, and I have to constantly come back and remind myself of the big picture, the initial vision of the thing. Is like, oh shit, like, okay, cool. I got so caught up in this thing that I'm seeing it just automatically by default. I'm seeing that thing as that's the vision, and no, it's like it's the piece of the overall puzzle.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, but the thing about it is, if you understood the practice and you had a process and you sat down and you were committed, and then over a short amount of time, because you followed our process, you started to actually experience the results.
Yeah.
Now, if you think about it, if success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal, the end result, and you had validation that you created a component of it, so you made progress, then you would have verification that it works. And if it worked, why would you ever miss a day? Yeah. You wouldn't.
Yeah.
So let's unpack this.
Yeah, let's okay. So I guess the biggest question that I want to make sure that we address is how do we visualize, right? There is a difference between wishful thinking and visualization. Mm-hmm. There's a difference between affirmations, right? And gratitude and the type of energy that's needed to actually sit in a space of visualization.
Yeah,
right. 100%. Because it's not just sitting there and then drawing stuff up in your mind. It's there has to be a big emotion behind it, big sense of belief behind it. Almost like I like to call it blind faith.
Yeah, magic.
Magic. I love to call it magic, man. Like it's because that's what makes sense in my head, right?
That should have been the intro song. Do you believe in magic?
Do you believe in magic? See, I visualized a good outcome for that, and then you just full circle.
Jesus, Gio.
That's how it works.
You hear this? Yeah. No, great job, man.
Yeah, thank you. You're welcome. You are welcome.
So,
what would you do without me?
Live a long, happy, prosperous life.
Yeah, super bored. Die old with no friends. So let's talk about I guess we're gonna bullet point this into 3 steps, right? And it's not that it's the end all be all, but if
kinda,
well, sort of, it is. But if you want to sit down and begin a practice, like, it doesn't have to be uber complicated. No. You don't have to go through, I don't know, 90 hours in a certification course of becoming a yogi to visualize.
What we're going to give you all is a simple process.
Yeah.
And because, complexity is the enemy of execution.
Yeah.
And so if it's this long, drawn out, specific thing, it's like, oh, man, who's got time for that? It's boring. Anyways, I think it robs the magic from the experience.
Yeah.
So keep it simple. So it is a simple process. Easily done? Not always. Yeah. However, it's simple.
Yeah. The biggest battle we're going to have is with our own mind as we're going through it.
100%.
So step number 1 to visualizing, right? It's knowing what you want. Wow.
Yeah, but
so deep.
Now, it is to an extent.
Yeah, let's unpack that for a second, right?
So, as we said, most people know what they want, and it's not really true. So, knowing what you want isn't just saying the words,
right?
But like sitting down and articulate it. Could you write a page about it? Can you get some details? By the way, that would support the visualization as well. Yeah. Like, what does that really mean to you? Why do you want it? Like, get abundantly clear, and not just thinking about it. Like, you've got to write it down, because there is this, I don't know what it's called and how it works or why it works, but I just know that it does. And that's when you take a thought and you write it down and you keep writing about it. Even when you don't know what to write, just keep writing whatever comes up. Man, I've had some experiences where things I didn't even know that I knew or know that I wanted.
You end up talking to yourself.
Yeah. So,
in a really cool way. Yeah. It's an incredible process. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Things just like fall out and you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
And now it's so much better and even more exciting.
Yeah.
But people want to take a shortcut and not write it out. And it's like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like pen to paper, literally.
On a side note, because you brought that up, it's actually it's an exercise that you can do if you want to get rid of like emotions, just bad feelings that you have within. Write them out and then burn them, right? Like the process of writing them out is gonna help you like just kind of cleanse, clear, and really kind of clean the pipes, emotional pipes when it comes to that sort of thing. It's incredible how it works, right?
We should do an episode on that, actually. Priscilla has a 7-step process to do just that, and it's amazing.
I'm telling you, it's an incredible. It's a way of clarifying, right? And it begins with the question, like, what do I really want, right? Yeah. What do I want? Not what is good for my family, not what is good for my kids, what is good for the country or the world, world. It's none of that. This is an intrinsic question. It's a you question. Yeah. What do I really want, right?
If I may.
Yeah.
Getting clear on what you want for your reasons. Ooh. Really leads to the highest and best end result that is for everybody else's betterment. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not like, let me start there and draw it back to me. No, let me start with me, and this is going to be a contribution now. Yeah. Like, it's the way to get there for the highest and best. So.
You're not building the path, you begin and then grow from the path. So yeah, absolutely, right? Asking yourself the question, what is it that I want? And getting clear on that. Now, one thing, also give yourself some time to process it. This is not a question that you're going to be able to absolutely be clear about in one session.
Likely not.
Yeah. Dude, for simple stuff, not necessarily simple stuff, but anything that I feel is going to move the needle and it feels like a heavy decision, I'll give myself 3 days. I'll think about it. Okay, like this is, I'm anxious about this. I'm nervous about this. I'm upset. I'm pissed off. I'm gonna, go rip somebody's head, off because something went south. I don't know. Like it's, if I'm mad about whatever, I give myself 3 days just to process the emotion before making any life-changing decisions.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So I feel like it's the same thing. Why? Because when we're under a certain emotion, if it's stress, if it's despair, if it's joy, excitement, or you're in that state of utopia, right? Like everything sounds great, but
looks good on paper.
Yeah, it looks good on paper. But when things settle and the emotion kind of subsides, I feel like that's when it's hard to be at a neutral space emotionally, right? But it's the best place to really figure out your vision from. Yeah. Right. Why? Because you're in a steady balance, state of emotion. It really.
Well, neutrality is also nothingness, and that's where creation stems.
Yeah. So it's. Anyways, so it's important to give yourself the time. That whole instant gratification thing. It happens. When you go get a cheeseburger at McDonald's, but it's not gonna. When you go get a cheeseburger at McDonald's, like you'll get instant gratification because you got a burger. But it's.
Do you eat that?
No. But you're missing the point. All right, so
yeah, I got caught up on that. I'm like, wait, you eat McDonald's?
No, I did eat a conchita this morning, which was phenomenal. Like Mexican pastry.
Well, that's different.
Don't get me started, bro. Like that and tacos. All right. So, anyways, instant gratifications. Instant gratification is that, right? You get it in certain things, but when it comes to vision and the power of manifesting through it, it's not going to be an overnight thing. Like, understand that, right? And roll that into your process when you're asking yourself the question, what do I really want?
100%. Yeah.
So then the next step, right? Step number 2, after you figure out or you have some type of idea, I call it a North Star, on what you really want, you're going to have to connect to it emotionally, right? The more vivid the vision is, I like how your body posture just changes. Like, this is my jam.
I'm ready.
Put me in, coach. So you have to connect to it emotionally, and there's certain things that we can do to really tap into it and create that sense of belief that's going to be like the jet fuel for that vision to come through.
Yeah. So connecting to it emotionally is a requirement.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just sitting there playing with your imagination.
Otherwise, it's wishful thinking.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So, like, it's the difference between affirmations and gratitude. Like, what is that? Affirmation is just a statement, right? Yeah. There's nothing really behind it. I am wealthy. I am wealthy. I am wealthy. But all the while, your self-image, your servo mechanism is saying, no, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. And like, there's this battle, right? Mm-hmm. And so the only thing you're left with is really disbelief. And so that's why I think affirmations in and of itself don't work. Yet gratitude is completely different. Because think about it. If you're grateful for a thing, what does that mean? Emotionally, the energetic signature is I've already received it.
Right.
So if I were to receive it, I have to think about how would that feel? Now we got something.
Yeah.
I can connect to it with my energy, because that's what emotions are. Emotion, energy in motion, right?
Yep.
So if I don't know how the end result's going to feel, I can just see it. Like, that's only half the equation. Now, a lot of people tell me, well, Justin, I attempted this and I'm not able to see it. I don't care. Sit down and connect to it emotionally.
Yeah.
And watch how the vision comes to life in your imagination. Like, it's a required element of the whole thing. You're not able to create without the energetic connection. And besides, there's this mind-body connection. They're inseparable. You cannot separate the mind from the body. It's like every color has a shape and every shape has a color. They're inseparable. And so you've got to have both dynamics working together in unison for that manifestation to occur. And you can connect to the emotion of how it's going to feel. And that's why articulating it in writing in its fullest detail supports you. And how would that feel? Yeah. And then the really cool thing is, I'm going to, give a little spoiler alert, but you still won't understand it until you experience it. Like, when you connect to it emotionally, you begin to understand why you wanted that thing in the first place, because you think you're going to get something from having it. Like, then I'll be successful, then I'll be significant, fill in the blank. And what you'll realize, if you visualize it and you actually connect to that future experience, you no longer need the thing.
Yeah.
And so then you're like, well, what's the point of visualizing? Well, maybe the price you have to pay to answer that question is to discover it on your own. However, it's beautiful and blissful. Like, I don't know. Should I give it away?
Don't hold back now.
Well, simply put, like, when you connect to that future experience, first of all, you don't have the end result, because the self-image doesn't think that it's possible, doesn't believe you can, you're not capable, worthy, like you don't have enough to create it, whatever the case is. But the truth of the matter is, as you sit down and you connect to that end result over and over and over again, it's just something you do, pretty soon, I swear, and you know this, you start walking around in your waking day as if it's already happened. It's already occurred. And it's in your gratitude. Like, I'm thankful for actually receiving it. And so people, like, it's kind of a lie at first until it becomes a truth. And that's how, like, fake it till you make it is such bullshit. Be it so that you can see it. Well, how do you be something that you haven't experienced? Practice, repetition, but connecting to it like you believe that it's already experienced. And that's how creation happens. Because you're walking through your normal day, and all of a sudden there's a moment in time when that goal is reached, the phone call comes in, and that's the cool thing about it too, is like, it comes to you, and it comes in a way that's like out of left field that you could have never imagined.
And when it does, you're ready for it.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise you.
No, it doesn't surprise you at all. But when it happens, you won't be overly joyed, like, oh my God, it finally happened. Like, that's not going to happen. And when it comes in, you're like, that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's just validation now that this actually works. I'm not saying you're not happy about it, but you're not overly joyed, because you've already experienced it so many times before. And it comes into its physical manifestation through that process, because over time, and you don't even realize this consciously, how you think and feel about yourself and what's possible for you matches that end result. Like, it's in vibrational alignment.
It has to.
It has to.
It's one and the same.
Yeah. There's only 3 elements that comprise this entire universe: frequency, vibration, and energy. Well, you rehearse that over and over. You connect to it emotionally, energetically. Right. Pretty soon, you are that frequency and vibration of it. Of course, it has to come to you. It's magnetic.
I was looking at I can't remember, but there's been studies where they're measuring emotions, right? So they got a bunch of people, put them into this room, and there was no outside frequency coming in, no cell phone waves, no nothing. They were measuring the emotions emitted, or the frequencies emitted from the people that were in the room, and the different feelings have different frequencies and different power levels, I guess, and you have so you have you had anger at a frequency. It's a lower frequency, and if you've read anything with Wayne Dyer on it, like he breaks all this stuff down.
Dr. David Hawkins, Power versus Force.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, this is real stuff. It's not woo-woo thinking. It's not like it's
science.
Physics. And study after study and all that stuff. And the biggest one, so you have certain different emotions, right? Love is one of the top ones and everything, but the one that came even up higher than that was authenticity. The reason for that is because you're embodying the belief.
Yeah.
Right? You're embodying the belief of whatever it is, whatever frequency you're in, whatever you're seeing, whatever you're talking, you're speaking into existence or whatever. Like you're embodying that information, that situation, that portion of you that's at in that place and time.
Yeah.
And the frequency's through the roof because it's genuine, because
it's a truth too, even if it's your truth, right? And you're embodying it, it's the highest vibration. And really that would be a form of love, if nothing else, love of self.
Yeah. Yeah. So it comes to show, right, how belief and blind faith, or magic can really come to move things along. It's not because it's woo, it's because of the level of power that it emits. Dude, did you ever watch like all our live biggest secrets have been solved by cartoons, right? Like, have you ever paid attention to that stuff?
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, there's lots of
Did you ever watch Monsters Inc?
Yeah.
Okay. You remember little girl laughs and then everything just lights up, like there's no, like the biggest source of power, it's joy, it's happiness,
not fear of the screams.
Exactly. The fear of the screams, not the false anyways, the scary creatures that can be in the shadows and everything. Like it was that joy, that laughter, that emotion, that belief that everything was good and everything was happening through joy in a space of creation and love was the thing lighting everything up. I was like, man, this movie's so deep. I mean, we see it as, Monsters Inc., right? But when you've done a little bit of research and studied and you looked at, oneself and you understand how that portion of us works, like it's impossible not to see it everywhere. I was like, man, it's so on point. But anyways, it ties right into it, right? So I feel it's about having this delusional belief in oneself, I feel.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, I think you've got to strengthen your belief in a thing so that your faith can make it so. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, it's not on accident, it's intentional. Yeah. And what process, if not visualization, are you going to use to strengthen the belief? Like, because again, the only reason you don't have it in reality is because the self-image doesn't fit that result. Right. It's not in alignment. And so you've got to build that. You've got to cultivate that belief. And visualization is
square peg,
Yeah. Psycho-cybernetics. And that's a fantastic book if you want to learn more about self-image. Person discovered it on accident. Yeah. Wasn't even a psychiatrist or dealing with the mind. Yeah.
It's an incredible book.
Yep.
So it is it's about that, right? It's about that sense of belief. It's about bringing your vibration to that whole, that next level as you're going through the process of going through this vision in your mind, whatever the vision is. I don't know. It may be something, like, I don't know, a Euro trip or something. Put yourself in that state of being, walk the streets, smell the fresh air.
Well, I love that too. People say, ask, where is your dream destination vacation? Yeah. Europe. Okay, get specific. Where in Europe?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, is it Italy? What part of Italy? Yeah. Like, go there and give yourself permission.
It's day 3 in Europe. What did you have for breakfast?
Yeah.
Like, how many conversations did you have? Who did you meet? What's his name? What's her name? Make it crazy, vivid, and it's almost, it's incredible, dude. I mean, to the point where
creepy, like a little spooky, huh?
Well, I mean, I have example after example, but like I've literally visualized, things, and a week or two later, I see the exact thing. Or it comes to me, or it's just, I mean, it's incredible.
Well, and I'll say a word of caution with all of that because it's so true. be careful what you wish for. It is so true. And so get specific.
Yeah.
So, if you're an entrepreneur and you want more business, you better get specific, because what kind of clientele do you want and what do you not want? Don't focus on what you don't want, only focus on what you do want. But nonetheless, you want to get specific.
The ratio is 3-1. 3-1. That the stuff that I don't want is going to pop up, right? But anytime it pops up, just, visualize the positive 3 times on top of that.
I hear that a lot. Yeah. I think with gratitude, visualization, whatever it is, never say what you don't want.
Yeah.
It's only what you do want, specifically highest best. And that's going to evolve with your practice. You'll realize where you can get more intentional and specific. Real important, though, I think for everyone to understand is when you start off visualization and any kind of practice, you got to realize one thing. When at your first go around, you're going to suck. Like, the mind's going to be thinking all kinds of thoughts. You're going to be all over the damn place. So what? Sit down and do it again and again and again, and just keep going until, like, if you're new at something, you're going to suck. And so give yourself permission to not be proficient, because you're not. And why is that a problem? Yet everything that you're good at, you practiced a lot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, give yourself some time, give yourself some space, and invest into you.
Yeah. 1,000%. And it's not, it's, when it comes to, the body and mind connection, it's not that difficult to tap into it. I mean, it may sound like, if you've never done it intentionally, like it may sound like it's difficult to tap into it, but I mean, all you got to do is run through a couple of, little, simple drills. The lemon drill, for example, right?
I love that.
I mean, if you're sitting down, if you're listening right now, if you've never done, a visualization or meditation like that, just, bear with me here for a second, right? And follow through with this. See yourself, it's a hot summer afternoon. You're somewhere by the beach, right? And it's hot. In my head, I'm already thinking of that, place I love going to. I know exactly where I'm sitting, and I'm thirsty. There's no water next to me, because all I had was beer and I drank it all. So I'm still thirsty, right? And I have the beach, and it's a hot summer day. We're in Arizona. This place is in the Sonoran Desert, so it's 115 out there, right? And I want liquids. I want fluid, right? The first thing I see next to me, it's a lemon. It's not water. It's a lemon. My mouth just started salivating right now. My salivary glands just, started doing their thing right now, because I'm looking at the lemon, and I'm super thirsty, and it's super hot out there, right?
Yeah.
I'm taking the lemon, and I put it close to my mouth. I can smell it. It's moist on the outside because of the water breeze. It smells so fresh. I wish I had a big cup of lemonade, but I don't. I just have this one lemon that's fresh. It's prime. And my mouth is just salivating like crazy. I feel it more and more and more. I can even feel it on the back of my tongue. When the taste of the lemon just gets there, and it just like makes me have that sour face, right? And I put it to my lips. I'm sucking the lemon, and I'm making that face. More importantly, I feel it. All my taste buds are going crazy. That lemon taste is all over my mouth, and I feel like it's quenching the thirst a little bit. So I squeeze it, and I want more lemon, right? And I'm making more of a face. If you're listening right now and you're following right now through this little visualization, how does your mouth feel? Are you able to taste the lemon? Are you able to smell the lemon? Body and mind connection. It's not that difficult to put ourselves in a situation where we actually can trick the mind.
100%.
Can trick the body.
So my 2-day workshop that I do, Success by Design, Awaken to Your True Potential, I do just that, a different setup and dynamic of that. And inevitably, the vast majority, I ask, okay, who started salivating at the end of the exercise? And it takes just 2 minutes. And all the hands go up. There's like 1 or 2 that don't, out of, over 100. And I walk people through that exercise for a very important fact that you've got to understand. Your mind and your body cannot discern the difference between that which you imagine and that which you experience.
Exactly.
And that exercise proves it. You just had a biological reaction to a thought alone.
Yeah.
I mean, and of course you did. And ever had a nightmare? You wake up scared, crying, or whatever, breathing hard, your adrenaline's pumping. It's like, well, how did that happen? You didn't actually experience that, but you thought you did, right?
Yeah.
Or just like a good dream where you run into, a huge fortune, a chest of gold or a bunch of cash. And you're like, oh man, go back to sleep. You know what I mean? Like,
I know exactly what it feels to fly, dude.
There you go.
I can break it down. I've flown so many times in my dreams.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so if you can condition the mind and body to experience a thing, like that's how you're going to be there in physical form.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Mind and body connection, right? Again, it's visualization doesn't have to be this big elaborate thing that's taxing and I mean, it can be something joyful, something that you can play with, right? Something as simple as that. I mean, heck, use that little dynamic to begin.
Yeah.
Get look at the wins. When you feel that and you start salivating on your own, I was like, oh shit, that's a visualization win.
But again, if you just like, I can't visualize it. Well, remember the last time you had a really bad dream?
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
But I think that also leads to the third step.
Yeah.
Start small.
Start small, right? Yes. So to start small is like it's one of the keys. I really think. Why? Because we have to build that muscle, right?
Yeah.
We have to build that muscle. I mean, again, I'm using that little example, but the same process, is applied to, okay, what do I want out of business? What do I want out of a relationship? One thing I feel like often happens is we'll visualize 10-year goals.
Yeah.
And then I was like, my 10-year goal is not happening. I'm on month 6.
This doesn't work.
This does not work. Then it's abandoned, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's too big of a cake to eat, man. So visualize the daily stuff. Visualize, okay, what's it gonna look like tonight when I get home? Like, how's my family gonna greet me? Like, how cool is that? Is that movie gonna be when we're all eating popcorn and just hanging out? Like, the joyful things, the small things are often the most important things.
Oh, for sure. The things that are free. Yeah,
exactly, and that also gives you that delusional belief, right? That it's almost like a deja vu.
Yeah,
like I've seen this. Like, why? Because you visualized it. So it's that, and when you're going through this process, if you have a big vision that you're breaking down, that you're it's going to take, I don't know, maybe some time to get together. The entire plan is not built up. You haven't built the blueprint for it. You don't have, the step-by-step, map that's going to get you from here to there. The next thing is to just take the next best action, right? I mean, it's part of that process. We have to, put the legwork in.
Totally. Well, and I do want to say, too, like, okay, so we're not saying don't envision the 10-year goal. However, when you sit down to visualize, if you're having a hard time connecting to it in your imagination and or emotionally, start with something small. But also, that is a pathway to start to connect to that 10-year goal. Like some people, it's so big that they're not able to conceive it, right?
Yeah.
Like really go there. Okay, cool. So start with like you won your day. And then your month, you hit your KPIs or whatever the case is. Like start stair-stepping that up in the same session of visualization so that you can get there. Because if you can believe in something small, then just start stretching it until you can get there. Like if you've never done this before, visualization, and you think you're going to connect to earning $5 billion, like good luck. You know what I mean? You got to cultivate it.
Yeah, exactly. Stack the wins. Create that evidence as we're going through the process, just like anything else, right? Yeah. Just like anything else. Understand that the power of visualization is real. It's one of it's one of the best tools that we have at our disposal. You can visualize anytime, anywhere. Just, I don't know, close your eyes, not while driving. Just don't close your eyes while driving. You can still visualize while driving, just don't close your eyes.
Well, and I'll say that when you get really good at this practice and then you have experiences that validate that it's working and you work it, and you're adjusting the self-image and you're walking around with as a different state of being, like you'll start visualizing with your eyes open through your waking day, because why not? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
one funny thing that happens, you almost like, you get to this practice that you do it so often. You know how we have muscle memory, right?
Yeah.
Like we have muscle memory, and then the next thing you know, you're doing stuff. Your muscles don't even recognize it. You know, they're just doing it. You hop in the car, you drive home, like muscle memory, and you know, yeah, mental memory.
Well, you pull in the driveway,
Yeah.
and you're like, how the fuck did I get here?
Yeah, I'm like, oh wow, I remember there was traffic. You know, you're somewhere else, but yet you're operating. When you're visualizing, it's interesting, but you get to a point when the vision comes through. If it's, you know, especially those smaller ones that we can pop like Tic Tacs, they come through, and you see the result. Now it's a true thing, and it was like, oh, okay, like it's almost like you were expecting it the entire, like after you do it and you create that, you know, that the cadence for it. But when they come, it's pretty interesting because I noticed that emotion. Like I at the beginning, I would kind of want to force it into place, right? Because that's the vision and whatnot. And then I started just focusing on okay, the next thing at hand, and the thing, like the vision itself is gonna give me that punch list of stuff that I need to handle, right? Whatever I need to put, you know, work into it, it's gonna pop up because of the vision. It's gonna be there. Like if you don't see it, it's because you're not intentionally looking for it. But you are gonna see that kind of stuff. And when it comes, it's pretty interesting that it's almost easy to dismiss. It's like, oh yeah, I mean, yeah,
Oh, of course,
yeah,
obviously.
yeah, of course, absolutely.
Why wouldn't it? Like,
Yeah.
It'd be weird if it didn't appear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you know, I forget that it's almost like a superpower, dude. I'm not
It
saying
is.
yeah, but I mean, at this point, I can fly in my dreams. I mean, I can do a lot of stuff. So like, I'm sort of like a superhero.
Yeah.
In that world.
But,
But
you bring up
in my world.
yeah. In his reality.
In my reality.
It is a personal reality. No one shares it with you, you know?
Yeah, it's very mine. But it's so sorry. Let me close that thought before I move on. But yeah, so what I'm saying is, like, you're gonna see things. You're gonna start visualizing. You're gonna visualize the small stuff, and it's gonna start come to fruition, right? It's gonna be a real thing in front of you at some point. Don't forget to look at that thing, or that situation, that result, or that moment, and appreciate it. And have gratitude for that moment, because that's the fuel for the next moment.
Yeah, that state of thanks for receivership. Yep, that's so important. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you were going to say something.
Oh, I was going to go to the action part because you brought that up. Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that point number 4?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So next action step is just that. Win actions, right? It's like, what's important now? Because a lot of people, and you know this from coaching a lot of people, students, they say, well, I don't know what to do next. It's like, yes, you do. Like, what's the smallest, most seemingly insignificant action you can take, a step?
Yeah.
Again, no matter how small, but when you take it, oh man, that feels good. And the secret is step 2 will only be revealed when step 1 has been taken and completed.
Yeah.
And people are like, oh, that's too small of a step. I got to pick up the phone and call this person. Yeah, do it. Like but the thing about it is, like, the more you visualize and connect to that end result, and the more it starts shaping the self-image, reframing it, like that in and of itself starts driving aligned action, like actions that would be in alignment with actually achieving the target.
Yeah.
Like it's so simple. And because if you think about it, like, whenever, like, driving the car, right? You know how to drive home because you've done it so many times that your mind and body, like, you don't have to consciously think about it. It just does it, right? Same thing with the self-image and visualization. When you start reframing that self-image, you'll notice spontaneously you're taking action in alignment with the goal, with the result that you want. Like, it just happens. And people really got to pay attention to that, man, because you're programming your mind and body on how to operate and why, just like that muscle memory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like thinking memory. It runs without you having to think about it. And that's so beautiful, because whatever that's programmed to do, you must be successful at, because biologically your brain is hardwired for success. Otherwise you could die. You know what I mean? Like, it's a self-preservation thing.
Yeah.
And everyone's always successful with that. Whatever the programming is driving behaviors in alignment with it. And most people don't like to take a look at the result that it's creating because they don't like it. And so they don't take ownership of it. But if you own that and you see you're successful with the process, Like, great. Now all I got to do is reframe, take out the content, believe something different, rehearse it with practice, and it's going to be successful. It has to be. There's no other way.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%, man. So stack those wins. You don't need outside validation. I mean, it's nice to have it and everything. You don't need it though. Like you can create your own internal validation for that belief that we need to have in these situations, and then just go to town on those actions. Like that next step is what's important now, right? That next action is, otherwise you're stuck in wishful thinking. Like it's really how it is. I like to do this. I started doing recently this. The simple thing is ESP. So at the end of a day, and I used to get more elaborate, like write an entire novel when I was going to bed, and like this was my day, and it just became heavy. And then I was like, no, I'm just gonna think about it, but that was too light, and so it's just like I found a happy medium. So it's ESP. So what was my effort? That's the E. Like effort for today. Like, okay, what's the kind of stuff? What did I put effort into today, right? To move the needle forward, to walk towards my vision. Then what successes did I have? That's a yes. What successes? What wins? And and then what progress? Successes and progress is two different things, right? So
Are they?
Yeah. Because you can succeed at something that's not necessarily moving the needle forward, but we have that pragmatic progress, and we have that internal emotional success state.
Okay. Follow? Yeah. I get caught up in semantics and definitions, I guess, but I see where you're going. Yeah, that works.
You don't say. Cool. You're like a walking dictionary. I like it. So no, but it's anyways. It's like three simple things, right? Like what's the effort that I put in today? Do I feel good about it, or do I not? Mm-hmm. Right? And rate it 1 to 10. I'm like, shit, today sucked. I was at a 2, or I've never been at a 2.
Okay, so you're saying success is like, let's say it was though. Success is, I was at a 2 today. However, that was my 100% that I had today because of X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So at least I brought all of that 2% to it. Yeah. Or level 2 rather. Yeah. So success in my head is anything that that was a great thing, right? For example, I don't know. I can create to me success, right? Say that I create success in a student, right? And somebody who's being already, they're under my mentorship and everything, and they go and lock up $100,000 or sell it or whatever. Like that's success. Yeah. They're winning. It's their deal. I'm part of that success. So like what results did you produce?
Right. Okay. But at the end of the day, it's not necessarily progress for my immediate stuff. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
So that's, that's a big difference for me.
I like it.
So, and then progress on the stuff that I'm doing. Like, did I move the needle forward? Did I, delegate? Did I hire? Did I, I don't know. Did I have like, a mental epiphany that really just, became a breakthrough?
Awareness. Yeah.
Yeah. Awareness of something new. Right. So that to me is progress and success.
Okay.
So anyways, I break it down like that. Super simple. And it just brings a lot of clarity, right? And more than anything, it's like little checkpoints.
Yep, you take an inventory.
Yeah, of whether or not I am in alignment with that vision.
That sounds like a fantastic practice. And thanks for sharing that with me for, like years ago when we met, and, took you till now. But
you didn't know me, bro.
Clearly. No.
No, I started doing, if it makes you feel better. I rolled that out maybe 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. So I'm just giving you shit.
I read it in, I can't remember the title of the book.
What I like about it is, I know for myself, like especially in the past before personal development.
Confident Mind.
Okay.
The Confident Mind or something.
I would never take stock of my successes or progress until I hit that big one. You know what I mean? It's like, so between where I was and obtaining it, nothing mattered.
Feels like a desert.
Yeah, it does. And it's so few and far between the wins. Yeah. And so if you can do that daily, oh man, that's going to cultivate that state of belief and success and forward moving momentum.
When I started doing it, So it's interesting because like, when the messages come, man, like they slap you in the face. And it's like, I mean, I kept literally hearing the phrase, own it, own it, own it. It was like, why is it all over the place? Yeah. I mean, I was hearing it in movies. I heard it like in different, you know.
It's in your awareness.
Yeah. I mean, in the book that I was reading, like, you know, multiple times, own it. Anyway, so, I mean, that was one. But this one... The ESP was so I was reading through it, and it was one of those things that was like, oh, that's a nice concept, right? That night, my son wanted to learn how to dunk, right? Like he wants to dunk in the basketball hoop. It was like, well, he can't reach the hoop, like, and I don't want to pick him up.
Neither can I. So I don't know. You're screwed.
Like, I don't want to pick him up every time he wants to dunk. So I got a trampoline, right, and I put it right underneath, right below the hoop. So he runs to it and then steps on the trampoline, and then just like poof, barely makes it and touches the rim, right? So like he's ecstatic, like I touched it, yes. Yeah. And then he did it, you know, a couple times, and then he couldn't reach it. He got tired or whatever, right? And he couldn't reach it, and he started getting demoralized. Yeah. And I was like, no. And he goes, Dad, I want to be a professional basketball player, but like, I'm small, like I'm short. Like he was saying, like I'm not tall and like not, you know, but not. And I started talking about like, listen, like there's dudes that are not super tall in the NBA, but you know, like you're hella fast. You're super fast. Like this kid's accurate.
Spud Webb.
Yeah. So I started, you know, complimenting on the stuff that maybe I should tell him more often, right? But it's, you know, I'll see him do things and like, hey, you're doing a good job. This is really good. Keep it up, right? And I always do that. At that point, he needed a reminder of all the great things, right? Like you're really good at shooting 3-pointers. You're fast. You know how to dribble and the works, right? So I'm going through this punch list of stuff that I've seen that he does well. I was like, all right, cool. And then I started talking to him about, okay, but like it's in the practice. Like, you know, when you train, when you practice, the more you practice, the better you get. It's just how it works, right? So what kind of effort are you putting into this? And I said the word effort, and I thought about the ESP. I was like, man, I have no holdbacks doing it, you know, for my son, right? Like bringing that, you know, that kind of awareness to him, but I'm not doing that shit for myself on a daily basis. It's like, what's going on? So I started, and I'll try things. I'll give it some time to see if they stick. And yeah, I mean, sure enough, this one got like easier and easier and easier over days. And it's a phenomenal practice, but it's interesting how the message is going to slap you on the face a few times before we choose to see it.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, beautiful. And then last but not least, rinse and repeat, right? Yeah. The entire process. So step number 1, know what you want when you're going to visualize. Give it some time. Step number 2, connect emotionally. Have that blind faith, believe in magic. It's a delusional belief that you know, things are going to come to fruition. Be as vivid as you can about it. Be as like, who cares what anybody thinks? Who cares what anybody says? Do your vision board. Do whatever. If it sounds silly, fuck them.
Yeah, well, if you're worried about other people's opinions, you got some work to do.
It's your vision. It's your life,
and
right?
Don't tell anybody.
Own it. Yeah. Carry it. Next, focus on the wins. You know, what's important now, because there's action that needs to be backing that vision, right? Otherwise, you're stuck on what's the phrase I was using earlier? I forgot.
I don't know, but I mean, intentional, targeted action. Like there's something behind it.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, rinse and repeat.
So I got a little bonus step, so to speak, but more of a concept to practice.
Yeah.
And
wishful thinking. I was thinking of wishful thinking.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So FID is your friend, and FID is an acronym. FID, frequency, intensity, duration. Right. So as you're doing this practice, you know, how often are you doing it? And there's a very simple concept, and I think it comes from Atomic Habits, like never miss 2 days in a row. Like, because now you're going to be making it a habit to not do it, right? So if you're going to have a practice, like go all in and do it often. You can do it multiple times a day. Like, what's wrong with that? Once in the morning, once before you go to bed. Intensity. So at first when you do it, you're going to give it your best shot, and you may not connect to anything, and it's kind of like it was a half-ass attempt. So intensity is like, what version of you are you bringing to the practice? Like, go all in, don't half-ass it, go all ass in, and Just do it. And you'll see that you start to produce different results when you bring more intensity. And not intensity as in the ego, but intensity is in like the energetic connection to it. Like, I'm doing this. I'm investing time in myself. Therefore, I'm going to give it all I got. Yeah. And then duration. How long do you sit and visualize? Maybe you only start with a couple minutes at first and you're not able to connect and the mind's running. And so you get up. Well, the next time, just make it a commitment. I'm going to make it to 3 minutes and then 5 minutes and then 7 minutes and then 10 minutes. And just consistently start increasing that duration. So frequency, how often do you do it? Who you bring to the party, your intensity. And then duration, how long can you do it for? So just practice those things. It's a faculty. You're going to develop it just like a muscle.
Love it, man. Love it. Yeah. Fam, I hope you enjoyed that convo as much as we did. Justin, where can somebody get a hold of you?
Yeah, justinthorstad.com, social media on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube channel at Mindset Coach JT, or my cell, 602-348-8534.
Boom. Beep, 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 beep. All right. And do us a favor, subscribe, like, and share. If you like the stuff that we talk about on a weekly basis, just send it out to somebody who you think might benefit from it, right? Like, at the end of the day, we're trying to just, put some good messages out there, talk about our journey as entrepreneurs, what we go through on a regular basis. It's not, we don't necessarily just, pick topics out from a textbook, right? Like, it's like, dude, like what's ailing you right now? How is your mind fucked this Monday morning? And then we just dive deep into it. Why? Because that's the reality of life. It's the realness of being an entrepreneur. It really is. So with that in mind, let us know if you have a topic, a conversation you would like us to touch on. Just let us know. Right? It's a two-way street. So drop your messages. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Stay focused. You got this. Let's go.